Mike Renner here breaking down the top free agent quarterbacks in the 2019 crop. Not the banner year that we saw a season ago with a surefire sort of franchise guy like Kirk Cousins who's going to break the bank, but there are some intriguing options that could be starting for your team in 2019. At number 1 on our list, it's former Philadelphia Eagles quarterback. Now former because he bought himself out of his deal. Nick Foles could still get the franchise tag, but I think he ends up being available, whether it's via trade or free agency this offseason. 4 playoff wins the last 2 years, including that incredible Super Bowl run in 2017. His 2-year grade over the last 2 years is 76.1. That ironically puts him right between Kirk Cousins and Case Keenum on our grading scale over the last 2 years, but that thing is, that's still starting quarterback level in the NFL, and a lot of those turnover problems that he had early in his career have sort of went away over the last couple of years. Only 11 turnover-worthy plays on 522 dropbacks over the last 2 seasons. That's one of the best rates in the NFL. So the old gunslinger Nick Foles that we saw is not there anymore. He might be a safe option for your franchise. On to number 2, it's Teddy Bridgewater, the New Orleans Saints quarterback who only got 1 start this past year, in Week 17. That was with backups, and he had a 59.0 overall grade in that game. But it's the preseason where he was in New York with the Jets that ended up getting him traded for a 3rd rounder to the Saints that gets you excited. He looked back to form there in the preseason, 80.9 overall grade in those 3 outings that he had. I'm not sure he's going to be a surefire type of franchise quarterback. I'm not sure what you're going to get with his knee over a 16-game season, but the Teddy Bridgewater that we saw his 2nd year in the league that graded out well was very close to the guy we saw a season ago. On to number 3, where it's Tampa Bay Bucs quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick. While I'm not sure you want him necessarily as your starting quarterback at this point, the highs are as high as any backup quarterback that you can find in the NFL. Week 1 this season, he earned a 96.1 overall grade to beat the Saints. Week 2, he earned a 96.3 overall grade against the Eagles. Those are 2 of the top 5 highest graded games we saw from quarterbacks all season long. Of course, the bad was still there. He had 5 games grade below 65. But like I said, you might not want him as your starter, but as a backup, there are a few guys that can come in and win games the way he can. On to number 4, it's Browns quarterback Tyrod Taylor. Did not work out for him in Cleveland, where he earned a 47.0 overall grade in his few snaps there. But he had 3 seasons with grades over 75 with the Bills. I'm not sure anyone's going to be willing to give him a starting job at this point, but if you have a mobile quarterback as your starter, he would be a very capable backup in terms of he's able to do a lot of the same things that your starter would be able to do from an option running game standpoint. And on to number 5, where we're not really getting into viable starters or even really viable backups at this point, where it's Josh McCown, the former Jets quarterback now, almost 40 years old at this point. So if you're adding him to your room, he's going to be almost a QB coach of sorts, and what he brings to the table. Hasn't had a grade above 70 since 2013, but he obviously understands the game, understands NFL offenses, could be big for a young up-and-coming quarterback. There's our top 5. Not a great group, but again, some intriguing names that definitely will be starters somewhere in 2019. Does your team want them? Let's see. Go to ProFootballFocus.com to check out our lists of free agent articles and team needs on our website.